Hello, welcome to the Funnel Planner. The Funnel Planner is for two things. One is for you to use it as a sort of a whiteboard to map out your funnel before you start just building pages. So it saves you time, so you can visualize your whole funnel. But the second one, oh, by the way, and you can then just create all the pages in one go from the board rather than creating them all individually. The second one is to allow you to plug in some numbers. This is important because it will mean that you can test and model your funnel to see if you're making money or losing money. And allows you to set targets in terms of conversion rates and play around with setting the prices for things, all in a theoretical model before you actually waste any time doing it for real, or even risk doing it for real, because ultimately you might only get one bite of that cherry. So it allows you to model out and plan your funnel both in terms of how it looks and ties together and get the flow right, but also critically in terms of proving that it's worthwhile in the first place and it's actually going to make you money and not lose money. So let's start with the basics. Put my specs on so I can see what I'm doing. This is the Funnel Planner board. It's a very long board. You can scroll down, so don't worry about having space. If you're on a small monitor or whatever, you can plan it vertically or horizontally. I'll just do a nice simple one horizontally just so we can have it all on one screen. Now, what do you need? Well, there's three things you need. An audience, you need a page, and actually, probably they're the only two. You might want to put in a destination, which we'll come on to in a second. So how do you do it? Well, you simply go on, add an audience source, and let's choose something like a Facebook post. Doesn't matter massively what you choose off that list because everything can be changed. So it doesn't set you to being only a Facebook post. But then once you've got it, you hover over it, little mouse comes up instead of the pointer, and you can drag it and place it anywhere you want. Simple as that. So there's a Facebook post. We want a page. We're going to have a sales page. Something as simple as that, and we want to connect the two together. To connect the two together, you hover your mouse over this here where it says click, and you'll see the mouse changes to a little pointy finger. Click and drag and drop, and that's it. They are now connected in terms of where the traffic is flowing, and that's quite fun. It's actually quite a fun thing to use. It's quite therapeutic. Right, now, a couple of terms. This is the board as a whole. These, if I click on them, are items. They turn yellow when you click on them, and down the right hand side you can change things about them. I'll come on to that in a second. Inside your item, to connect from the page, you have connectors. You can click on it, highlights in yellow, and you can change things on the connector. Connectors are buttons, are opt-in forms, are payment buttons, are anything that the user does something with. Typically clicking might be a form you fill in, like an email opt-in form. It's a thing that the user does. That's the point of a connector, and importantly it will then trigger the next step, which will be going to another page or adding them to an email list or whatever. So this is our incredibly simple funnel. It's not going to win any awards, but let's say they then choose to buy. Now a sales page, they might buy, they might not buy. So we've got one connector there for buy. If I want to add another connector for not buy, just click on the item there, click on Add Connector, click on it, action by default. So I'm going to say no, and I'm going to rename buy to yes. Now, where do they go? Simple. Thank you page, Bosch. I'm going to have another thank you page for Bosch. Click and drag, click and drag. We've now got our flow set up. So we'll have a thank you page for yes and a thank you page for no. And let's make it slightly more complicated that when they buy, they're going to be added to an email list. So let's choose a destination and choose MailChimp. Again, it doesn't really matter because you can rename MailChimp to whatever you want. But when they click on yes, they're going to go to MailChimp. And now what I'll do here is I think I'll just tidy this up because I like to have it tidy. It's my little OCD going on there, but there we go. So that's what's going to happen. They're going to click on a Facebook post. They're going to buy. If they buy, they'll go to a thank you page and at the same time be added to MailChimp. If they don't buy, well, they'll just get a thank you page anyway. We go to downsell page. You can see here you could just map and model and add as much as you want on here. And away you go. Simple as that. The purists among you might say, well, actually, the T4S sales page and thank you page doesn't take money. Well, that's true. So let's he's really specific about this. Stripe. We're going to have a Stripe checkout for yes, and we're going to click. If I click these anywhere, it removes them, so I can then re-add them, and then pay goes to thank you page. That's really what's going on there, and obviously no thank you doesn't. That's more accurate. So, you know, Stripe is a destination, it's off T4S, whereas the black boxes on here are pages on T4S. And there we are, we've sort of mapped out our funnel there now. So to save it, I do need to put in a name. If I choose save name, I need to put in a name here, so I'm going to choose sample board and save. Next time you come back, the last one that you saved will come up by default. All right, and you can then load it from loader board up here. If you want to create a new one, click on new board, yes, give it a new name, whatever it might be, save board, and then it'll appear there from future time. But I don't want that, I want to delete that board because I don't want that, I want my sample board. That's it really in terms of, we're going to come on to the numbers in a second and proving that your funnel's worthwhile, but that's it in terms of, you know, allowing the flow. You can do this, you know, you could do it vertically, you could do it horizontally. You know, if you need space, you've got a big old space there to do it. Design elements are very simple. They are that, click on that, add a label. I suppose that's probably strictly speaking. Let's new customer. Yeah, just to sort of help you map it out. A circle is actually a circle or an oval. You can read it. You can do horizontal resize. You can do vertical resize, or you can hover over the little chevron, whatever. To delete any of these things, you can click on them and click delete over here, or you can drag them over the trash can down there, which you can move around if you so wish. Just drop that on there and Bosch is gone. So that's it in terms of mapping it out. Now, in terms of the numbers, this is where it gets really interesting, particularly for those who have with a more analytical approach to things. It allows you to model out a funnel in theory before you waste any time building it and risk alienating an audience with a pointless funnel that actually isn't going to make you any money or to your email list or whatever. So let's start putting in some numbers here. Facebook post, click on the item, up it pops here. Down the right hand side, Facebook post, how many people will receive this? Well, let's say typically 100 people will see it. How much does it cost in total? Nothing. It doesn't cost me anything to do it. I just go on and I post it. In terms of the conversion, if I click on the connector, click, that'll do. What's the conversion rate? Well, let's leave it as 50. No, let's say that this is a particularly good offer. So I'm going to say it's 50%. 50% of those who see it will click on it. What income does it generate per sale? 0. All it's doing is generating traffic. And now we can see the numbers over here are starting to populate. 50 people, 50% of the 100 people flowed through, and these little numbers on the lines will all automatically update themselves to show you what's flowing through your funnel. Just off on a tangent, you can highlight multiple of these and move them around in groups. If you change your mind, just press escape. You can actually do 1 and 2, so you can create as many as you want. 1, 2, oh, missed that on that one, on that one as well. Yeah, on that one. Oh, if I can get it in my box, there we go. Move it around. Change your mind, just press escape. Okay, because that way, as your funnel grows, you might want to play around with the layout. Right, let's just leave it at that for the time being. So I put in 100 people, didn't cost me anything, 50% flow through, therefore 50 people will come through. They hit the sales page. What's my expected conversion rate? Well, currently that little number there is 10%, so 10% are going to go through. What income does it generate per sale? Because I've got Stripe on a box here, 0. That in itself does not generate any money. You could omit the Stripe box and just sort of combine them and record it on here and not have the extra Stripe box. It's entirely up to you. I could, for example, get rid of that and do that, and I could record here what it actually generates per sale if I wanted to. But I quite like, let's just drag that off anywhere and drop it anywhere. just because I'm a bit of a purist, that's actually what's going on. So we're going to go from there to there, and also add to my MailChimp list. So that in itself does not generate any money. However, Stripe, which I'll put down here, how much does it cost to make what I'm selling? This is a PDF, so at the item level, it doesn't cost me anything to make the PDF. I'll, get rid of those costs. But the conversion it generates, and what are we going to sell it for? Let's say 17. The magic 17. And now you can see the numbers start flowing up. Here I've got 10% for yes on my sales. I need 90%. No. So at this rate, I've got half of the 100 people, 50%, 50 people coming through and seeing the sales page, 90% drop off. Okay, whatever. 10% people say yes and buy it. Two things happen. They get added to my MailChimp list, so I get 5 new subscribers. But I also get payment. 5 people go through, 5 people pay 17, and 5 people go to the thank you page. And down here, let me just highlight that. Down here, it shows the total cost. It hasn't cost me anything. I'm going to write off the cost of the PDF. Total income is expected to be $85, or pounds, or peanuts, or whatever currency you're working on. Currency only really matters if you're using things like Facebook ads when you pay in dollars, for example. And there we are. I've mapped out my funnel. Pretty cool. So let's just do another one with the Facebook ads instead. So it's going to get rid of this audience, drop it off, and I'm going to go to I need an audience. I'm going to use a Facebook ad pay-per-click. Pay-per-click is when you pay for each click on your ad. One person clicks on that ad, you get charged. Pay-per-views or impressions is when you say, here's my budget, show it to whoever you think you wants to see it. Facebook, within limits, they'll show it to something like 10,000 people, and you pay for that, and then you'll get a conversion of 3%, 5%, whatever it might be, who actually then flow through. So you're paying for the impressions or the views. Pay-per-view. Pay-per-click, conversely, you pay for each click on the ad. I'll use that as an example. So at the item level, click on the Facebook ad. How many people will receive it? Well, I'm going to be doing pay per click. So I'm going to model this whole funnel in 100 people seeing this ad. So 100 people see it. How much does it cost? Well, I'm going to say $1.50 for each click. So I'm paying $1.50 for each visitor to my page effectively. And on the click action, so this is click on ad. Whoops. Click on ad. There we go. Conversion rate is 100%. Obviously, they click is converted. You only pay per click, so it's got 100%. What income does it generate? Zilch. Nothing. All we're doing is paying for a visitor. And I'm going to click and drag that, and they drop on the sales page. Now, the good news is, instead of 50 people coming from my Facebook post, I'm getting 100% conversion. 100 people I'm paying for, therefore I get 100 people. 100 people drop on. Now let's have a look at the totals. It cost me 150 for the ads. Total income 170. Not brilliant, but it's based upon the stats. And now I can start having a little look here. Well, is 10% conversion on my sales page? Possibly. Could I charge more? If I charge more, then obviously, if I charge 27, I'm going to make more money. If I charge 7, I'm going to lose. And this is a good thing to highlight, actually. This is a good example. You pay for your ad, 10 people come, they pay the $7, I get $70 in my bank account, and I think, woo, this is how I make my money. But of course, overall, I'm losing money. So I can test out in theory. And this is a very, very simple funnel. Very, very simple. So from this point of view, it's not, it may not mirror something that you do. Let's make it slightly more complicated. Let's say this is going to be a $17 sale. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll simplify this down by taking out Stripe and just using this connector here. Let's get rid of that as well. Complicate things. So I'm not going to use Stripe. I'm just going to use this page here to remember that I'm going to get 17 per sale. Okay, it's up to you whether you use the destination of Stripe or not. Entirely up to you. So we've got a sales page. 10% of 100. We'll pay $17. I make $170. There's that. The coins up there, 170. So this here is the per page revenue, and at the moment it matches. But let's get rid of the thank you page and let's put in a oh no, sorry, I wanted that. I'll leave that now for now. I'm going to put in a little downsell. So in between here and here, I'm going to offer something cheaper. So let's offer a downsell. This, we drop that into nowhere and drop it on there. We then get a downsell. They say yes, thank you. They say no, thank you. And the yes one is going to be just $7. Now by adding that, you can see here we're modeling it out. So if maybe only 5%, let's be pessimistic. Let's say we only get 5%. It still gives us another $28, which we weren't getting before. You can see how you can visualize your whole funnel here. So this is got downsell. This is a or nothing. This is a forward sale item. So now we're getting to the point now, you see, when we can really start to play with these figures. You can see the numbers on the lines here is how many people are flowing through our funnel. They bought nothing. They got a downsell. And what we'll probably do on here, because we want to keep track of them, is probably have another email list as well. So now we can start to see how many people are going to which one. This is where it gets fun. You can get everything nice and lined out. There we go. Whoopa. There we go. That's nice. Okay, so now for this 100 people that we paid for, we paid for these people $150. We've got $170 there. We've got $28 there. Total of $198. We've got 10 people on our email list, and we've got 4 people on that email list. Could be the same email list, could be different email lists, whatever you want to do. But they're pretty good. So now we're starting to map out, in theory, what we're going to do. And now we've got targets. Now this is the important bit, because now I know that if I'm not getting 10% conversion rate on here, I've got a problem. I need to either look at that page and see how I can get it up to 10%, or I could say, well, hang on a minute, let's say I only get 8%. Let's go 5%. Let's be really pessimistic. Really pessimistic. 5% conversion rate after an ad for a pale sale means you either got the ad completely irrelevant to what you're selling, or actually what you're selling is a pile of poo. Well, having said that, if they clicked on the ad, they'll probably buy it. But anyway, 5%, really low. 95%, I am losing money. Can you see that? I'm now losing money down there. So how can I combat that? Well, I can. Now, there we go. 24 is going to not be enough. 25, bosh. I now need to, if I'm only going to get 5%, I've got to make that thing come across as worth $25, 5% to buy it. And here you can play around with it. This is modelling. This is what it's all about. You're modelling with the figures. You're working out what's the best way to achieve your output. And this is me breaking even. Downsell. Maybe that goes up a bit. Could we get that worth 12, for example, or even 10? Let's say 9. Whatever it is. Now, when you've got that working, you then test it and you see it and you watch. This is where the management of a funnel comes in. You watch your conversion rates. Remember, on the Funnel Manager, you can see the conversion rates of your pages. You'll know it. You'll know from here in Facebook ads what the stats are. You'll know what's going on. So you can start here and you can feed in the numbers and see where you're going wrong and see where you're going to improve and see where you're overperforming. Awesome. Because when you've got it working, and here I've spent $150, I've made $11. Whoopee do. But if I know it's working, I can then ramp that up to, and now I'm making 173. Now this is all automated. This is based on a PDF, for example. This is evergreen stuff. This just sits there rocking along in the background. And on all of these things, what you'd be doing from, let me just see if I can, all of these things, what you would be doing here is feeding through to something else. So, you might have a course, and, on your email here, there'll be an action, and on here there'll be an action, and these are going to be coming in from there. Yeah? So both of those will be coming into, so there we go. There we go. Oh, thing of beauty. Thing of beauty. They're both coming in to a course which has a sign up, and maybe this sign up again has a conversion rate of 10%. What does it generate? Well, let's say it generates, this is a course, I talk about this in here, lifetime value. Let's say someone's joining a course, the total income for the average customer is going to be, let's say they last 10 months on average, and they pay $5 a month. That's 50. How many customers? Well, I'm basing that on one actually. So my average lifetime value is 50. If I had a big course, I could work it out and say, well, actually, I don't know what they are. So if I think I made $1,300 and I had 14 people. Well, therefore, my lifetime value is 92. Yeah, so this is just a little calculator here on what your lifetime value is. So let's say the lifetime value of a course that they're paying over several months is 50. And now we've got more. Okay, zero people are coming in from here. So this is because I can now map it out. I've got 0 coming in here. Well, I think out of there, probably 10% are going to click on the action in my emails, which flows through 9 people in this case, and 9 people with a 10%. That's not worth doing. It's not worth doing. If I can squeeze it up to 20%, then it's worthwhile doing. So I get 1 basically. I can see how many people are doing it by saying course content. Let's just drop that into there, drop that down to there. 1 person has joined up for a course, but it's 1 person. It may be another 50. So you can see here, this funnel mapping is just incredibly powerful, because it's all done. This is all me doing it in theory. I haven't done anything yet, but it allows me to create a blueprint of what I'm going to build. And this course here, well, that's awesome, because that will have an upsell. And you can say, this is where your sales value ladder comes into it. This is where you map out, so that they're on the course. What are these people going to buy on the course? They're going to buy something else and something else and something else. And this is why you can see you'd probably end up going vertical on here rather than horizontal, because I'm getting all a bit squished now. Let's just stick a box around that so I can see what I'm doing a bit more. So that's my course. What else did I want to say on that? I think we're pretty much covered on that, aren't we now? I suppose what we can do here. I suppose the key thing here is, once we got it working, we can start adding more and more zeros. And although I'm spending $15,000 now, because I've tested it, each step, ranking it up, total income 17,000. I'm now making 2,000. It's still all automated. This is a PDF. This is course content, pre-recorded videos, so on and so forth. This is evergreen stuff that just goes on in the background. And also, if somebody says to you, or you think to yourself, well, what happens if I do this? And where do they go if I do that? And how does it all link together? It's there in black and white. You can print that page out, stick it on your wall, and you've got yourself your blueprint for what's going on, and you can check on it and you can improve on it. You've got a Facebook ad. Why don't we, for example, promote it on Facebook post? That would be sensible, wouldn't it? Of course it would. Again, how many people? Well, I may have a fairly modest audience. I've scaled this up, so I'm thinking slightly bigger now perhaps. Let's say 1,000 people will see this. What does it cost in total? Nothing. How many people click on it? 15%. Yeah, that would leave it at that. That sends through another 150 people. And if I can get that conversion rate up to something like 50, you can see that its total income down the bottom corner there is slowly going up. What else could I do? Maybe I've got an email list as well. Not sure I want to do that. I want an audience. Oh yes, I do. Yeah, email. Maybe I've got an email list, and maybe that email list has got, I mean, it's got 500 people on it. Doesn't cost me anything. Click through 15%. That will do. It's another 75 people. All starting to add to the flow. Yeah, we're now up to 18,000 and so on. You know, if I could make that, if I could grow my email list, let's say I had 1,500 people on there, it goes up again. You know, I'm nearly up to 20,000 here. What else can I do? Maybe I've got a chatbot going, maybe I've got Instagram, maybe I've got Twitter, maybe I've got word of mouth. A conference, you know, if you've got a conference event going on, you know, you attend a conference within this, you know, time frame. Conference, how many people see this? 500 people. What does it cost? Nothing, because I'm being invited. It's virtual probably at the moment. Conversion rate probably just 5, not massive, but it's another 25 people. If I can get that up to 15, let's be really optimistic. Let's keep it real. But it's more people, and you can see here, you can feed these people in. What else could I do? Word of mouth. You know, if I got a chat bot, if you haven't got a chat bot on social media, you could certainly consider having one. You know, maybe I've got a chat bot with, you know, 200 people. Maybe it does cost me something within this time frame. Maybe it costs me, I think what's the going rate now? If this is in dollars, let's leave it at 9 for this period. They click on it. Let's say that's a good conversion rate. For the bot, you probably want to do that, and so on. You know, you've got more, so we're feeding in more and more, and I can start playing around with this and think, crikey, here it is. And now I can take those audiences and turn them into marketing plans. I've got my conference, I've got my email, I've got my Facebook post, I've got my Facebook ad, I've got my Facebook chatbot. All of these things are now feeding into it. That's the power of modeling, and I've gone on long enough. I think I've covered everything. When you're ready, all of the black boxes, you can just go bosh, bosh, and click on yes, and it will create. Done. And the black boxes will be created inside the funnel that you've chosen there on the page. There they are. Apart from the blank page, which is there already. Get rid of that. Oops. Yes, go away. Okay, and here we are. So we've now got our sales page. Course sign up, obviously down there is a course sign up and the content. Downsell, got the downsell. Bought nothing. Well, I'm just playing around here with how I want to see it, how I can visit the sales page. Bought the sales page, bought nothing. Downsell, got the downsell, fine. Bought nothing, with me underneath there. So sales page, bought the sale, didn't buy it. Well, we're off from the downsell. Got the downsell or bought nothing, and there's the course sign up page, and there's all the pages we've now created sitting there. We can always go back and refresh our memory and play with this and start feeding in the numbers that we've got. And this is Funnel Hackers Pro in a nutshell. This is your blueprint. Longer video, I do apologize. I just wanted to get across everything that you could possibly do with this. It's incredibly powerful, and I hope it makes some sense, and I do hope you use it. Any questions at all, obviously ask on the Funnel Hackers Pro Facebook group, and I shall answer anything that you ask.